Now, this is from a newspaper article I read about 5 years ago, and I think it was one of the American ones, and I've also recently found it in the Express, an English paper, and quite a fantastical story really. And I was going to do some more research on it, and as it does, it slipped my mind, and then I saw something the other day, so I've followed up on it. Quite interesting. And the story got me because I love octopuses. I think they're amazing creatures, and this has got a little bit of a connection. And it's about an Organism 46b, and it's an enormous 33 foot long, 14 tentacled, squid-like creature, and it's said to live in Lake Vostok, which is a subglacial lake located under 2 miles of ice beneath Vostok Station in the Antarctica. And it's alleged the animal could release neurotoxin into the water to immobilise its prey from a distance of up to 150 feet. It's also displayed an astonishing degree of shape-shifting ability, and its limbs are said to be animate and aggressive even after amputation. Now, the octopuses have got an extra brain in each limb, in each tentacle, so that seemed feasible. And it showed a considerable degree of both hostility and intelligence. Now, I think with it being Antarctica, such a mysterious place, this story got to me. I thought, oh wow. And I found out Vostok Station was established by the Soviets in 1957 and was discovered to have been sighted atop a vast body of liquid water beneath the ice in 1974, and subsequently named Lake Vostok after the station. And I have actually heard this on various documentaries. And apparently, after many years of ice core drilling, the research team finally breached through to the lake in 2012, I think it was. And the first and only encounter that must have occurred when they first broke through. Well, the exact dates I'm not sure about, impossible to track down. And it was a Dr. Anton Podolka. And in Geneva, the defecting Russian scientist has surfaced with a mind-bending account of what really occurred when he and his colleagues went missing for 5 days in the mysterious lake 12,366 feet beneath the Antarctic ice. And Dr. Anton Podolka told authorities in Switzerland that the researchers discovered a bizarre and deadly life form dubbed Organism 46b, a highly intelligent octopus-like creature that claimed the lives of 3 of his team members. And he's quoted in saying, "We encountered Organism 46b on our first day, and it somehow disabled our radio, which we later learned to our alarm was intentional. And it's able to paralyse prey from a distance of 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water." And he goes on to say, "Tragically, my colleague, a lifelong friend, was killed that way. Later, when diving in the lake, the group were attacked by the creature, and it released its venom and took hold of one of them." As Podolka stated, his friend was treading water, wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. And Podolka said he watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off his head and then ate the rest of the remains. It was as if it hypnotised him telepathically. And a short while later, the Organism 46b stalked the group, displaying its shape-shifting abilities. It shaped itself into the form of a human diver. And Podolka says, "We thought it was one of our colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear." And with it being hazy down there, by the time the closest scientist had realised what it was, it had grabbed him and torn him to bits. Now, there is an octopus that does something similar, the mimic octopus, which imitates different creatures. He says another member of his team managed to escape the creature, and it managed to lop off one of 46B's tentacles. although later the limb attacked the group again. He states that later that night the limb slid across the ice bank and strangled her. And Podolka said after finally managed to trap the creature in a tank, the surviving members of the team brought it to the surface, where they claimed Russian officials seized the beast and told the international press that nothing had been found, according to Podolka. Now, apparently later Dr. Podolka fled the country after allegedly discovered that Russian President Vladimir Putin had plans to weaponize Organism 46B. The Russian government had denied all knowledge of these claims. That's a fantastic story of a creature possibly related to the octopus, which has been left secluded for thousands of years and morphed into this monstrous creature. But elements of it seem suspicious. For example, ice core drilling typically produces a passage only a few inches in diameter, as far as I know. Certainly not large enough to transport a person through 2 miles of ice, never mind a tank capable of containing a 33-foot long aquatic creature. But it's certainly possible that the team were doing more than drilling core samples, because Russia is renowned for its secrecy. Another suspicious point is that Dr. Podolka has so far been impossible to locate. I haven't been able to find any news of him, or that may due to him being in hiding. If he had Putin and the Russian Secret Service after him, who could blame him? Well, it turns out the article was written by C. Michael Forsyth, a Yale graduate and author of 4 novels, or 5 novels now. And he also narrates and produces audiobooks. So my suspicion was right, it was too fantastical to be true. With it seeing it in newspaper articles, it must have fooled them as well. Yeah, I find it that interesting, the whole article and everything, the research. I thought I'd do a little video on it. Hope you enjoy something a bit different.